Famed Sunset Strip bartender Danny B started out as a small-town boy with a dream, simply to be the world's best bartender. And for a few spectacular years, Danny B lived that goal, achieving the kind of success he could hardly imagine, beyond even his wildest dreams as a child in the small town of Harrison, Ohio.
It all started when I was a youngster. My dad used to take me to bars. He was a bookie, so he collected every Wednesday. I'd go in for the ride, you know. And one day, when he was out back cracking some deadbeat's head in, I sat and watched the bartenders. And man, I just knew that's what I wanted to do for a living.
Brother and fellow bartender, Tony B.
Mom used to always tell the story about how for show and tell, he showed the class how to mix a cocktail. So he brought in this whole thing, shaker, ice, olives, even onions to make a Gibson.
My teacher, Mrs. Harris, thought it was really cute until she found out I was using real gin.
Danny B's aspirations of bartending glory were solidified in the summer of 1988 when his parents took him to see the Tom Cruise movie, Cocktail.
I sat there in that dark theater watching Flanagan flip those bottles around. It was like poetry.
13-year-old Danny B convinced his parents to take him to see the R-rated movie a total of 22 times.
To this day, Mom and Dad can't watch the Tom Cruise movie. My dad actually broke out into hives last time he watched Rain Man.
I wanted to have the hippie shakes. What a movie.
Danny B's dreams of mixology glory soon began to consume him, and his schoolwork became his lowest priority.
He had flashcards for every drink ever made, and in geometry class, he'd put them inside his book while everybody else was studying. He can't tell you what an isosceles triangle is, but ask him how to make a pisco sour and where it originated from, you got your answer.
After repeated threats of military school and confiscation of his cocktail shaker when his grades dipped, Danny B was able to graduate in 1994 at the age of 19. He began to work at the Ha Ha Cabaret, a topless comedy club outside of Harrison. This is where he met one of the most important people in his life, longtime girlfriend, Sonny Grasso.
I remember the first time I saw Danny. I was in the middle of my act, and he walked in, and there he was. My heart leapt. Danny B.
The Ha Ha Cabaret was, it was just a regular topless club. And then the city passed an ordinance that says, okay, no more topless dancing. So what the owner did was he just had the girls come up and tell jokes while they took their clothes off. And as ridiculous as this sounds, the place just took off. It was a huge hit.
They started him out as a bar back, but the next thing you knew, he was giving the bartenders breaks, hopping behind there, mixing drinks, and the next thing you knew, it was like magic. It was like an explosion. It's hard to explain. It's like a rainbow, or why puppies smell pretty and dogs stink. It's just magic, the magic of Danny B.
That wouldn't move me to bartender. And I knew it was a total jealousy thing. The owner wanted to keep me in my place. And, they absolutely knew that I was a huge star behind that bar. But I had to stay because of Sonny.
Romance blossomed between sets and after work.
We made a few trips to the liquor room, if you know what I mean.
With love in his life, Danny B got his chance to move up when a freak blender accident severed the Achilles tendon of one of the bartenders.
I have no idea how that girl got her foot stuck in the blender. But, it sucked for her. It was good for me, though.
Now a full-time bartender, Danny B and Sonny moved in together. But the honeymoon was short-lived after Danny B would succumb to one of his many vices, prostitution.
Yeah, I was arrested for solicitation. But I swear on my bar Bible, I was asking for directions.
Danny B was put on 2 years probation, and things went from bad to worse when Danny B lost his job for drinking.
Well, I didn't lose my job. The job's still there. It's just, somebody else has it now.
So Danny asked me to move to Los Angeles with him as soon as his probation was over, and I loved him, so I said I'd go. And besides, I wanted to be a legitimate comedian, not just a topless one.
I wanted to leave town so bad. And I've always said the best place to be in Harrison is right in the middle, because no matter which way you go, you're on your way out.
Danny B worked a series of odd jobs, and Sonny continued to hone her act on the stage of the Ha Ha Cabaret. In the summer of 1999, 21-year-old Danny B and Sonny Grasso rented a moving van after Danny B's final visit to his probation officer. They made their way to Hollywood.
I was so excited when we got there. There we were in beautiful Hollywood, and I was so excited and couldn't wait to start my comedy career.
It sucked when we first got there. I hated it. And it was such a bitch finding a job. All these damn actors were out there taking up the good bar jobs. But, luckily, Sunny, she got a job right off the Sunset Strip working at the comedy club. So that helped out.
Things didn't go too well for Danny B when he first arrived. He was unable to find a job as a bartender for nearly 6 months.
I totally hated that Sunny was supporting me. But I finally found something, and it was down in El Segundo at some little hotel cocktail lounge. But it was enough to get me by for a while. It wasn't quite Hollywood, but it worked.
Danny B made the most of this opportunity and turned the once sleepy cocktail lounge into the place to be for the trendy El Segundo crowd. This would lead to a chance meeting with another important person in Danny B's life, club promoter Percival Wentworth III.
Danny B. Danny B. Well, what can I say about the man, the myth, the legend they call Danny B? Well, if I have to sum him up in one word, I'd have to say he's ungrateful, because he was. He's a backstabber. He tried to take my business. He did, and he's a punk, really. I mean, he's a street punk, but without the street, because he's poor. He grew up on a farm. That's what I heard. I don't know. I don't accuse him of being poor. It happens to people. But I found him. I was the one who found the one they called the legend, the myth, what I was just talking about. I found him down in El Segundo. My limousine broke down and we had to, fix it. So I wandered into this bar and I was looking for some surfers, female. And I see this guy like serving drinks to people, and you should have seen the attention he was giving to people. And right then I knew I had a star. He was throwing bottles around. He caught a few. The rest were broken on the floor. Must have cost that bar hundreds of dollars. But I tell you what, I could tell that kid had talent. He did. So I took him out of there and I gave him the opportunity of a lifetime. That's what I did. Danny B.
Percival? That scone-eating fuck. He was doing some 2-bit joint after-hours deal down in Silver Lake or somewhere, and he had nobody in there. Until I started bringing people in, men and women. Who knows which way that guy swings. But I'm the one that made Percival. Percival didn't make me, I made Percival. So I don't even need to talk about Percival.
The Danny B magic struck again. Percival's after-hours parties quickly outgrew their Silver Lake venue. Danny B was now a Hollywood bartender. Danny B's personal barback? Jonas.
It was crazy. It went from there being 20 to 30 people in the bar, mostly guys, I mean, your basic sausage fest, to there being maybe 300. I'm in Psychoville and Finkel is the mayor. I'm sorry, where was I?
I had to put up with a lot with Danny B. He wouldn't work without this guy called Jonas, right? And Jonas was this carnival freak, a carny. I don't know where he found him, but that must have been where he is, because his parents must have been, the bearded lady and the fat man. Because the kid had some kind of Tourette syndrome, but not the normal where you're like, fuck it, it was more like he would yell lines from Ace Ventura. And I liked the movie too, but once you hear it 150 fucking times, it's not funny. So, move on to a new film, Jonas. But I'll tell you what, Danny would not work without him. He would not.
Jonas, man, that guy, he was just the best barback I think I've ever worked with. And, I'd go into my shift. I never had to worry about backup juices, fruits. The liquor was always there. The beer was always stocked.